So I grew up in church. I was probably in here before I was even born, and it's always been at the same church. But I remember it was on my 5th birthday that my sister walked down the aisle at church, and she had made a decision and she wanted to join the church. So I was all happy, it was my birthday anyway, and then she's just talking big, and I remember we were shopping afterwards, getting just a few food items or something like that, and I was talking, I'm like, well, she went down, so that means we all were saved, right? And my mom's like, no, that's not how it works. And she took it a second, they explained it to me, and I remember something clicking inside my head. And it was something that just, a feeling inside me like, I need to be saved, I need to go do it. And I know it's 5 years old, but like I said, I just remember specifically that moment. The following Thursday, we came and talked to the pastor. He walked me through everything, and I made a decision. And from that moment, I've done my best to keep the faith. I knew then that I was saved. My story, I guess, didn't really start, I don't feel like, till later on. Because I remember when this was announced, when this opportunity was announced, and something told me on that day that I would have to do this eventually. And I didn't know what it would be. I didn't feel like I had much of a story at the time, but I knew at some point I would need to do this. And so here I am. But my story, I guess, to me starts the summer after my senior year. I know a lot of people see my family, think we're perfect. We got everything going on right. We all are really involved in different things. We support each other, but inside it's not always easy. In my house live 4 very different people, which makes it difficult for us to get along at some points. And me and my dad normally struggle with it a decent amount. We get some arguments, just different viewpoints about different things, both trying to let ourselves shine. And I remember one time in specific, it got me. I had grown older. I was, like I said, it was the summer after my senior year of high school. And we were working one day, and something bad happened, and we both got into it. We fought all day long. And I remember just towards the end of it, I felt embarrassed, because we were both doing that around the other people working with us that day, and it hurt me, because my dad and I, we're very different, but in a lot of ways we're kind of close too, because we've had to be. Through my years, he's been my teacher, he's been my coach, he's been my boss, and then he's been my father. So he surrounded every aspect of my life. And naturally, as a good son does, I wanted to please him. I wanted to make him happy. I wanted to make him proud. And I figured out later, luckily, that I knew he was proud of me. For a while, it didn't necessarily feel like it, because he'd be proud of me in one moment, but then pushing me to do a little bit more, do a little bit more, do a little bit more, to the point where I felt like I couldn't live up to it. He was wanting so much from me, and I just didn't know what to do anymore. I was at the point after this day, I just had to get away. And how the times work, it was a trip with my youth group down to the beach, and so decided to go on that trip. I was a big part of my youth group, and on that trip, everything just kind of hit me. I was leading worship. I was, like I said, involved, and in front of everybody, I would do my best to put on a face, but inside I was hurting. I was hurting bad. And there was twice that weekend where I went back to my room and just sobbed. because I didn't know what else to do at this point. I finally came to the conclusion at the end of that weekend that I had to stop trying to live for my father. Because if I spent my entire life living for him, then I'll never figure out anything about myself. I'll never, I guess, truly be happy. And so I came back that weekend with a different mindset, and that I wasn't going to just try to live to please him anymore. But it left a hole, because I was trying to figure out, well, what do I do now? Because I'd spent so long with that one goal in mind that I didn't know what else to do. So I knew the time was coming soon for me to go to college. So I made it through the end of the summer, and I left. I went to college, and it was different, because people always say that you can go, and when you go, no one knows who you are, so you can be whoever you want to be. But it's not you can be whoever you want to be. It's that you find out who you are. No one sees you as this little kid running around the church, or sees you as this kid in junior high school or elementary school. They see you for who you are now. And I would be going around, I'd hang out with different people. I'd have my group of friends there, I'd have my group of friends back here, and then I'd have my family. And at this point, I still did not know who I was. So I felt like I was being a different person around all of them. For a long time in high school, my plan was to be an engineer, and senior year that just kind of fell through because I realized I didn't want to do that anymore. I started getting more into music, and so I went into communications, wanting to do audio production. And so I was going into all these classes, and I felt like I was so far behind because I didn't know any of this stuff. I felt like I was just completely out of it. And stuff just started weighing on me over and over and over again. Like I said, I felt like I was a different person. I didn't know how to act around people. I didn't know how to act in my classes. I didn't know what I was going to do. I felt like I wasn't going to succeed at anything. I felt like I was getting to the point where I didn't feel like anybody really wanted to be around me. I don't know exactly what happened. And it started kind of seeping lower and lower. It was stressing myself out. And then right before Thanksgiving break, something else happened. It was just like the last straw got pulled from under me, and every bit of support I had just crashed down. I got to such a low point where I was trying to figure stuff out with my life, and I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is that I couldn't keep going the way I was. I went back home for Thanksgiving, put on a face for the family, and went back to college. Made it through the semester, made it through Christmas, and showed back up in the spring semester, and it was, I don't know, things just got even worse. Just the more I went, the more things happened, the more I held things inside, and the more it just hurt. And I got to the point where I didn't want to be here anymore. I mean, it felt like it was a waste of everybody's time, me being around anyway. I don't know exactly what that meant. I didn't know if I just wanted to change locations. I thought about changing schools for a minute. Or if it just meant leaving everything. Leaving life. I wasn't suicidal, but I can't say those thoughts didn't pop through my head. Just like, what was the point of me being there? And I was questioning a lot of stuff, but the one thing I never questioned was my faith. I got broken down so far that all that was left was me and God. And I made a decision a long time ago to never, I guess, say or something like, why is this happening? I don't know, just because I know that there always was, and it hit me again in this moment, that no matter what happens, it's supposed to. Because you're not going to walk through something that I guess isn't supposed to happen. You're not going to have to go through something that wasn't meant for it. God's plans are higher than our plans. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And in that moment that I was broken to just me and him, I felt him saying, just hold on. There's something meant for you. And so I did. I waited, and I waited. I waited for something to show up, something that told me, hey, there's hope. There's a future tomorrow, and you're meant for something. I realized what I had to do is I had to find the things that define me. I had to find the good things and the bad things. I knew that I put on a face because there were certain things I guess expected of me. People seemed to look up to me, and I didn't want them to see me on this broken mess, see what was really going on inside my head. I consider myself to be a kind person because I don't like it when I would hear mean things or see other people do mean things, and I try to be kind because I know how I'd want people to be to me. I don't like seeing people alone because I know how that feels, and I don't wish that on anybody. I consider myself to be pretty mature because in a lot of ways I was just expected to be growing up, and so I had to be. It's just different things like that. I started looking because I wanted to know who I was, and in those qualities figure out what I'm supposed to do. Figure out the things I'm really supposed to focus on. I remember the first person I told about any of this was my roommate. And bless his heart, he stayed up for several hours with me that night, talking me through it. He fussed at me a little bit. He said, look, man, he said, I don't care what you're going through. I don't care when it is, what time of night, anything. He said, I'm literally just a couple feet away. He said, wake me up. He said, I'm always here for you. It just meant a lot. And it helped just having somebody to talk to about this, to not be afraid to talk about any of it, but to help me through it nonetheless. And I told a few other people, the people closest to me, because I knew I had to tell somebody, because if I kept it inside, I was going to keep sinking down. And in that, those people also helped me see the qualities about me. And this summer, I decided to come home. I didn't know why at the time. I wanted to come home. I knew my sister was going to be getting married. I knew some other things would be happening, but something told me I was supposed to be around here. And in being that, to take, I guess, that escape from being around so many people at the time, it helped me just figure things out more and more. I would take it just one step at a time. By no means am I fixed, because after something's broken, it'll never be the same again. But in that brokenness, you can create something new. And that's what's happened to me. There's been something new in me, and I feel better about myself. I feel like I can take steps towards my future and not be afraid of it. Not be afraid of tomorrow, but come ready for it. And come ready for whatever this world's going to throw at me. And God was with me when nothing else would be. Because I know that no matter what happens, He's going to take care of me. And He's going to have a plan for my life. It's probably not going to be my plan. And so in some ways, I've stopped trying to plan my future because I don't know what to expect anymore. Everything I planned has fallen. He knows what it's going to be. He knows where He's guiding me. He knows what I'm supposed to do. So why wouldn't I follow Him? My name is Isaac, and this is who I am.